Hi, I'm Lynn.
And I'm Leo. Welcome back to Yoga with Lynn and Leo.
And welcome to our fourth day of preparations towards Halasana.
So hopefully you'll have been with us for the previous 3 days and your Halasana will already be better than it was at the start. The equipment that you will need is a platform which we've made out of 4 foam pads. We've actually put a pad, like a mat over the top of it, so that you can, so that we can move it into place easily. But you can just have your platform that you can make up, an extra pad as a launch pad, and a blanket.
Okay, so hopefully you're on your mat. We're going to start in Padangusthasana. So Leo's going to stand sideways for this with her feet a little bit apart. Now what's really important when you're standing with the legs apart is to lift those inner knees. Sometimes the inner knees can get quite thick and we have to lift up out of that thickness. So you have to lift up through the inner thigh very strongly and then lifting out of your pelvis, opening your chest and breathe. So just take a few moments when you're preparing for any pose. Just get a little bit grounded. Take yourself inwardly so that you're tracing your body. So just take a few moments for that because we haven't practiced Tadasana. We're going straight into Padangusthasana. Now the legs need to be very, very strong because now we're going to take the arms up into Urdhva. So some of you will be familiar with this arm extension, rolling those arms towards your ears and lifting out of your pelvis again. Very important actions. Now when you come forward, what's very key here is to lift through the front thigh, because all the way from the top of the toes, all the way through the front leg, middle thigh, all the way up the tracks is just one road. So you have to cultivate the whole of that action to come forward. So lift the abdomen to the spine. Don't hold on to the pose in your lumbar spine. Be sure that the dorsal spine is in. So this is a very good way to practice. Sometimes it's quite nice to put these arms onto a chair so you can really extend and get that understanding and feeling. Then see that you lift even more this front body to support you, and then take the hands down to the floor. Now, don't worry if the hamstrings are really tight. Remember what I was saying about the chair. Take your hands to a chair and still listen to the instruction. So those of you who've got your hands to a chair because your hamstrings are tight, then this next instruction is going to be a bit tricky. So just concentrate on lifting the abdomen, lifting through the thighs. For those of you who've got your hands to the floor, take your 2 fingers and thumb to the big toe and then keep your arms straight. And again, you've made another action, so therefore with that comes a little bit of grounding. So we have to find out the essence of being in this next stage. Keep the legs lifted, but the dorsal spine's got to lift, and the sternum plate has got to reach towards the end of the mat. It's really important action. Keep that lift in the abdomen, bend the elbows out to the side, and then extend in. So this is Padangusthasana. Now we're going to come up again, straightening the arms and placing your hands onto the floor. Now again, if you're on the chair, just come up, stand up and come back into the action in a moment. So when you're in this preparational stage, you've got to see again, you reinforce that leg work, ground down into your thighs very strongly, lift the frontal soft tissue area, the front body, and then take palms underneath the feet. So those of you with stiff hamstrings, take your hands back onto the chair. And this time, you've got to really create that space in the inner thighs. So see that you're lifting through the inner thighs, keep your arms straight, breastplate towards the end of the mat, and now bend your elbows and come into Padahasthasana. Yes, so this is preparing us for our next pose, which I will explain in a moment. Keep that lifting up, chest up. So all of this lift helps us in our inversions for Halasana, because Halasana is this version, but it's tipped upside down, but also to get the abdomen prepared for those more challenging inversions like your Savandasana and your Shishasana, shoulder balance and head balance, and then releasing, coming up. Okay, and extending, and now stand. Bring the feet together and stand in Tadasana. So again, when you're in Tadasana, keep that lift through the center of the body, lift in your sternum chest. Breathe through the nasal passage, lift the breastbone, and just be there for a few moments. Our next pose is Chaturanga Dandasana. Now we've put this into the sequencing because when you come into your inversions, you need to have strength through the whole of the front body because that supports you. So we're going to come into this from an Uttanasana action. So stand towards the end of your mat. I'm going to stand at the other end of the mat. We're going to swap ends now. So when you're standing at the end of the mat, here we're going to prepare. Now those of you with tight hamstrings, don't worry at all because you can soften the knees slightly. Now again, extending the arms up so you get the extension through the waist, and then hinge forward at the hip. Pull up the kneecaps and thighs, take your hands down to the floor. This stage, those of you who can't reach the floor very easily, then just soften the knees slightly because we will be softening in a second. Those of you who can, get that leg work and get the abdomen moving towards the spine. So if you've got tight legs, really keep at your practice, keep coming to it. Regular practice is what is required to master the practice of the postures. Now soften your knees, look forward, and now you're going to come into Chaturanga Dandasana by jumping back, and the body is plank position. And then you're going to press strongly into your hands and then see if you can come up into Urdhva Mukha Svanasana, which is a strong action. You might have to hit the floor for that. And then tucking your toes the other way, so you're onto the top of the foot now, and lifting up, then tuck the toes the other way and lifting up into Adho Mukha Svanasana, dog head down. Good. Okay, now we soften the knees and we come back onto our heels. So this is a very nice practice. If you haven't got much time, then it's a really nice way to perhaps start your day, getting a little bit of movement in the body. Now, as you can see here, Leo is holding her blanket because this is going to emphasize the lift and the opening of the front body. Now you can see she's pushing with her blanket down so that it moves the top of the thighs down as you come forward. So she's going to come forward, and this is the action that you're going to require when you're trying to launch yourself into your Halasana. So this is when you need to be really connected and understand that action. And just stay here for a few moments, catching your breath. You might find that by moving the abdomen in this way will in fact create a little bit of difficulty with the breath, and if that's the case, then you can unfold the blanket just a little bit. Okay, and then releasing. So we're going to get our platform again and see how this relates to your Halasana. Well, I'm sure you've all worked it out now that these simple poses help us to come into slightly more challenging actions. So you sit on your launch pad, and it's always good to have something a little bit higher like this so that you're not launching from the floor. Those of you who need to build up that center of direction will need to have definitely something underneath the buttocks. So now just get your shoulders onto the platform and see that there's a length in the neck And also this rolling down and pinning down of the shoulders so that the shoulder blades move in. And then you're going to press into the floor and roll your feet over. That's it. So you're in this position. Now you've got to remember your forward bending practice now. So see that you lift in the lower abdominal area, but also like the Chaturanga Dandasana action where the legs have to be strong, you've got to push those front thighs very strongly up towards the ceiling. So this time interlock your fingers behind your back and push those palms away from you. So this will help to get the length in the upper arms and for you to push so strongly with the heels away from you. So the toes don't keep moving back, but the heels push very strongly so that the pubic plate eventually will come towards the forehead side, towards the eyes. Okay, so just take a few breaths in this position. And now to complete the pose, bend your elbows, dig down into your upper arms and then place the hands onto the back. So this eventually will help you to come up into your Shishasana and your Padangusthasana, of course, because that's the natural direction. Okay, so we're going to come down now, out of our pose. We'll move out now, my ear's going to knock into me. Good. And then just take the launch pad underneath your head and just letting everything release now. Take a few moments, don't rush up, just stay in this position and just take a few nice deep inhalations. So before you finish your routine, it's always good to come into a seated position and just absorb the practice. So Leo's going to come up now to sit in a seated position, lifting the spine and just taking a few moments before you start engaging with the world again. There is a time, there is a pause before you go back into your regular routine. We hope you've enjoyed our video.
And if you enjoy our video, please do press the like button, subscribe if you wish to get notifications. And just to let you know that in January we are going to be doing 19 days of yoga in the run-up to the UK's National Iyengar Yoga Day. So check that out if you can. Thank you for joining us today. Namaste.
Namaste.